And welcome back to another episode of Financially Forever After, a love and money podcast. We are your hosts, Lindsay and
Brett Schunkweiler,
here to give you some love, relationship tips, general just relationship terms that sometimes Brett doesn't know. And what are you offering to the table on your end?
Oh, it's all about the money. Every time you say love, you talk in that voice that like, oh, I'm a late night call and go and talk about love,
doctor.
Like, oh, that makes me a little uneasy.
The
Like,
love doctor.
Are you doing something at night that I need to know
my
about?
sidekick.
You're answering some calls. You're like, I'm going to read my book on my phone. And then, once he goes to sleep, I'll get on and...
That's going to go into our
Lindsay
topic
Love.
today about some of these these love books that I read. But I was thinking that I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately. And I'm like, I could totally do that. I could totally do the audio recording voice. I think that would be so fun.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
I think it would be great.
It looks like you're sitting a little taller there today.
I do. I got my booster today.
Yeah.
I am all of 5'2", so
she claims 5'2". However, I really think 5'1".
Here's the thing: I'm middle aged now, so I think I'm shrinking as I start to age. Things are shrinking.
Well, I always thought I was like 5'9", almost 5'10".
Yeah.
And then we measured myself at home the other day, and it was like 5'8". I'm like, what happened?
You're shrinking too.
What happened here?
Good thing we're shrinking together. Otherwise, that would be.
We're keeping it the same height, this differential.
A good thing, because otherwise, if I stay the same, you might get to my level. Be like, this is what it feels like.
Oh,
so yeah, I got my booster today. But it's funny you bring that up about our height and our characteristics, but so we met in person obviously ages ago. We talked about this already, meeting at our local pizza shop, but anymore a lot of people are really meeting online. That's a lot of where people are meeting each other, and it got me thinking. I'm like, there's so many websites out there for what you can choose. There's Tinder, there's Bumble, there's Hinge, there's FarmersOnly.com. I know this is great because you don't know a lot of these.
All this just to find out who they are,
or some of my friends are on these and tell me about it. But if we were to get on one of these, just say now, we weren't married, and you were to write your bio sheet, what would you put on there to get people to want to look into you and maybe consider going on a date with you? What would you add?
First of all, I got to figure out what website's what. What's the difference from a Bumble to a Farmers Only? Okay, that's pretty obvious, right? I mean, they only want to.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I did write these down because I also didn't know as much. So Tinder gets a bad rep because it's usually the casual hookup, not really into long term. But we also know some people who have met on Tinder, and also
some of our good friends.
Yeah,
over this last weekend.
That it has worked out. So I think Tinder gets a bad rep, but you have your bio or your pick, and so you're basically reading their bio or pick, and then you're swiping left and swiping right. We talked about this before. Bumble is the women get to message, so the guys don't get a message. So if I was into your bio and your pick, I would get to choose if I wanted to talk to you or pursue you, which is kind of cool. You're not getting
the big picture. I'd be flooded with, on my inbox.
Of course you would. So, and then obviously FarmersOnly.com. Didn't my cousin meet someone on there? I felt like he did. Maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't. But he is a farmer. We are in the Midwest, so there's a lot of them here.
I don't think I would get on Farmers Only.
You're not a farmer.
I know, but I'm saying could it go either way? What if she likes to be on a farm?
If she was a farmer, yeah, she could be a farmer.
I decided early on.
If you're looking for love and you're I'm willing to move to a farm, why not? Why not consider it?
Well, here's the thing. I decided early on, everybody remembers the game Duck Hunt, right? Remember Nintendo, the little Duck Hunt? And then you had to shoot those ducks, and they fly all around. And then that dumb little dog laughed at you. It laughed at you every time you missed them.
I am confused where you are going with this, because this is for farmers only.
Farmers. Yeah, farmers.
They like to
hunt.
Not all farmers.
Oh, well, more than not. A lot of farmers like that.
I don't agree with that statement.
So anyway, I figured
now, if you were going to say they were going to put on their mud boots and go pour the slop in the pig farm like that. That's a farmer, or they're going to get in their combine.
Well, I guess I just assume most farmers hunt.
Yes.
But anyway, I figured like a long time ago, I'm like, all right, I'm not, we don't grow stuff in the garden. Not great at that. Don't go hunt. Like, I'll go to the grocery store.
She could do all that. And you're just
I don't want to be out there, though. It's too far away. I
don't
like my city town stuff.
Financial appointments, which you have. You've had a client appointment in a combine before. So you could do that on the farm. You could just be doing it.
I went out to actually like Grand Island area, and he's like, oh, just hop in. So I climbed up.
That's central Nebraska for those of you who do know.
Yeah, I climbed up in there, and then like a 45-minute meeting, we went down and back one of the rows, and like, all right. We're done with the meeting. It sounds good. We did paperwork the whole time. And these combines, they just drive themselves.
They're nice. Combines are nice. They're like more than people's houses. They're really nice. Okay, but so if you were to start a profile today on one of these apps or websites, what would you put to like draw people in? What would you list as your characteristics?
Well, I'd definitely be 5'10", right?
Oh yeah, you gotta lie a little bit, just a little bit.
Gotta be 5'10". No.
Okay,
so
because is that average then?
I think I'm pretty sure I looked up actually not too long ago, and I think like 5'8", 5'9" is the average. So I think I'm slightly above. Well, I might be shrinking. What is
the average for women?
It's like 5'4" to 5'6", somewhere in there.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Below average.
A little short.
That's fine.
It's all
fine.
good.
So what would you put? Okay, so you would put your height a little bit
I would put
taller.
I mean, you definitely got to go
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
No, you got to be taller because I'm huge compared to you.
Oh, true. Okay. Keep going.
Definitely former collegiate athlete for sure. That gets all the ladies.
Yes. Okay. But let's be real. You are an NCAA athlete, but what sport? You played for the University of Nebraska.
The only manliest sport out there. Bowling.
Of
course.
Which is funny because when we were dating, he would get all the apparel as the other athletes. And I would tell the girls on my dorm floor, would be like, oh my gosh, you're dating an NCAA athlete. I'm like, yeah, he's a baseball player.
Yeah. No, she'd really say bowling. She's like, what can I say? I like a guy with big balls.
Okay.
Obviously, bowling ball is way bigger than baseball.
Good gracious. Okay, so you would obviously have that on your profile.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you would be more on Tinder than that comment. Okay. So what else?
So, I mean, I love sports. I'd have to do some type of, love sporting events. Definitely not concerts. I'm not a concert person, but I don't think I'd put that on there.
You say that, but you've been to concerts. You went to Pink and you really enjoyed Pink.
Pink was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Like that was very good.
Yeah. What else?
Gosh. Well, I mean, I couldn't say I love kids if I didn't have kids, but it depends on if you were, obviously I love my kids very much. I love hanging out with them. Family man. I could put family man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I mean,
but you have to actually have like a bio sheet about yourself. So what would you write? I
mean, financial advisor, own your company,
See, I don't think we would match. If we were to write our bios now, I don't think we would match. We would come across each other because I would be like, love concert, love to read, especially romance.
Okay, let's be real though. Like what person wants to get together with another person that loves to read? So you can just both sit there in a chair and do nothing.
Well, that's what we do now. Like you go and watch a game and I'll read. It works. Or I'll sit next to you and while you're watching the game and I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect pairing to me.
I usually do that.
So that's what I mean. Like I am an anxious ball of anxiety with tummy issues. But you also have tummy issues.
Nah, not like you though.
And you're more mellow. So I think that balances out with my anxiety. And so, yeah.
But the thing is we don't have to like everything.
True.
It goes back to.
But like, I feel like on these apps, a lot of them are like trying to pair you with like what they feel like you would go for. And like, I don't know if we would match.
But it goes back to like the whole compromise thing we started early on is like, hey,
if you don't like to read.
No, I mean, like, I just got to love you as the person.
Yes.
Same thing as people out there in the dating world. Like, there's going to be things that you don't like about, you don't like that they do. Yeah, but you just like spending time with them.
Yes,
I mean, there's things like what you like going to these farmers markets, right?
I do.
And I'm like, I'm a little sick today.
Yeah,
Every time
you
you
enjoy
mention
it
you
just
want
as much as
you want
I
to go to
do.
those farmers markets, but whatever. I'll have to go spend time with you.
It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, online dating, you might not always match up, but give the person a chance. We talked about freak matching a couple episodes ago. You might match your freaks in some other way.
I say, hold on here. What about you? What's your profile
I
say?
told you mine would be like anxiety. I wouldn't lie.
You're gonna put anxiety on there?
Absolutely.
No.
Because I saw a reel one time on Instagram. It was like, for every guy who's like mellow, like pretty, like I'm the black cat personality to your golden retriever personality. I feel like you're the let's think things through. You're pretty even keel, and I'm like, I will slash your eyeballs out. I go from 0 to 100 with my temper.
Like a negative 2 seconds.
Yeah,
It's insane.
It's so, I mean, I think opposites attract in a lot of ways. It works for us, but let's circle back to, because we kind of touched on how I like to read romance novels, and I'm into audiobooks now too. But so the term of the day is Smutten. What do you think that term means?
It means the type of books that you read at night. That's what it means. Like smutty. Like in essence, how do I to explain this correctly? I would say that, people are getting it on.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
There's a relationship building. It's not just about that. So the actual term smutton, it's when fantasizing about TV shows or books becomes your reality. So for instance, a lot of women and men were watching the Bridgerton series. I know you kind of briefly walked in on a few episodes.
And I'm like, what is this?
But
what are you
it was like
here?
the romance of it all. It was like going back in time and seeing all these beautiful ball gowns, and he was a duke, and so Smutten is like, when you're reading these things or watching these movies, it's hard to get out of it and back to reality, because let's be real here, like real life, that romance isn't like that. If romance is hard work, you got to put some work into it. It's not always just butterflies and rainbows. So they do warn against that stuff. It's totally fine to be into that kind of romance and fantasy books, but you got to come back to reality and know, like, this isn't real life. You got to come back and know that you have a job, and if you're a parent, you got to parent your children. Come back to your normal realityville. But so Bridgerton was an example. I mean, some of these romance books, they're called romantasy. So they're combining the concept of romance and fantasy. And right now it's increased this year in 2024 from last year being 454 million. This year it's 610 million. So it is a lucrative business. So if you want to get into the genre of like writing, there you go. There's a financial tip you didn't actually know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You can
want to make some money.
People to maybe buy into stock of, is that a stock? Can you buy into these?
You would have to know the name of the company.
True. You'd have to, I mean, their editor probably, or publishing company. That's who you'd have to do.
A stock is when you say, hey, I want to put money in one company that thinks it's going to go up.
Correct.
So if they're writing books for different companies, it doesn't work on.
Well, I think for the most part, they have the same publisher. So their books are always under the publisher. But yeah, so there you go. There's a stock tip of the day coming from the relationship side.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you have for me today on the finance side?
All right. So there's some terms out here, and I actually didn't know some of these ones until I looked them up, and I'm like, okay, let's see if Lindsay can guess what these might be. So they have like a real world analogy and also a financial analogy. Mm-hmm. So have you heard of the term ankle biter? Ankle biter,
yeah.
Okay.
Aren't those like kids usually are ankle biters, or animals? You little ankle biter?
Yeah. So it's a zip. Using the outside world to describe small children who are so little that they metaphorically at least barely reach an adult's ankles. However, in the financial field, can also be used to describe a small cap investment. Small cap means relatively low value or market capitalization, usually somewhere between 300 million to 2 billion. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like 300 million, like that's still a crazy amount of money, right? Compared to what everybody has. But you say, all right, well, when would I want to invest in a small cap company? Well, you can invest in stock. Hey, maybe you're going to get one of your Smutten stocks.
The books.
Yeah, the books. There you go. They could eventually be a small cap if they get at least 300 million, and then you can invest in them.
Did we talk about this before? Like, what is this? At what level is it considered a small cap versus
300 million?
300 million
to 2 billion is a small cap.
Okay.
And then you go medium, 3 to 10 billion.
But 300 is the minimum.
Yep.
Okay.
So like a couple other small cap companies would be like Paramount Group, SiriusXM, or AST Space Mobile. So those are all companies who say, hey, if I want to invest in small cap, well, why would I do that? And now, granted, right now, the stock market has been killing it, right? It's been doing real well. As interest rates start to go down, typically small caps outperform large caps. And not a lot of people know that. So large cap companies, those are the big Targets and the Walmarts of the world. And they just have these huge amounts of money. And they can pretty much do projects anytime they want. But small cap companies, interest rates go down. That gives them the ability to say, hey, guess what? I can borrow at a lower interest rate, and therefore I can do some projects and try to boost up our growth of the company. So a lot of times small caps tend to outperform compared to large caps.
Interesting.
In a decreasing interest rate environment.
Okay.
So, all right. So that is ankle biter.
Okay.
This is a good one for today. I think you'll like this. What is big uglies?
Especially after talking about Smutten, my mind automatically went to somewhere that it probably shouldn't have gone. Is that wrong?
I don't know. What is it? You said it's unfiltered, so what do you got?
Big uglies?
Yeah.
You're like, I can't.
Okay.
I can't even explain it.
We all know what she's thinking. So let's go from the financial aspect. What would you think a big ugly would be in the financial world? What does that mean?
Are we going back to stocks where maybe, big ugly, maybe something happened in the stock market where it's like, this is an ugly scenario. Something happened it's a big ugly for the stock market.
Not quite, no.
Okay.
Survey says ain't.
Well, you just went to stocks. So
That's all right.
It was stock related.
You know what? It's not too bad to guess.
Okay.
So it says big older companies, usually in dirty industrial sectors like mining or steel. Though they can be solid investments with good steady returns, many investors ignore them for cleaner, trendier stocks. So an example would be like a General Motors, GE, Honeywell, Intel, Boeing, HP. Things of that nature. So big, large, huge, gargantuan companies. But a lot of times in the industrial world. So if you hear like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, well, guess what? Those companies are going to be in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So if you ever watch the indexes to see how you're doing, how did GE do? How did Intel do? Well, they're also in the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
Okay. So in relating this to anything that applies to what I want to do with the stock market. How does this relate to me?
Okay, sounds
Why do
great.
I care about a big ugly?
Well, if a lot of times smaller cap companies, or stocks or mutual funds, they tend to be riskier, right? Mm-hmm. Companies that have been around a long time, like a General Motors, is typically going to be around. So it's not going to be as risky. So if you're looking for more of a steady Eddie type of company, and you say, hey, you know what? I don't want to take a lot of risk. You could do in a dividend company like a General Motors or GE or something like that. That's kind of a constant, a little bit safer than the normal stock, or a growth-oriented or smaller type of company.
Okay. So based on what I told you about the Smutten books and the fantasy romancy books, taking that big increase from last year to this year, I mean, that sounds like it would be a pretty good investment.
Going back to the Smutten stuff.
Yes.
You just have to figure out which one that is. Who's the publisher?
Correct. I would assume it's the top books right now that are out there, which, there's some really big names out there, and TikTok is good at promoting a lot of these. So you just got to know what the TikTokers know, and then you can invest in those publishing stocks. Great. See, I love that sometimes my topics roll into your topics and we just combine it. That's why this podcast is so great. You get the romance side, but you also learn some financial information. And it all comes together. Just like our personalities, somehow it just works.
I don't know why, but talking about the bowler and the big ball area, we just want to sign off saying good night and big balls.
Good night and good balls.
No, good night.
What's that from? That show, Wipeout.
Wipeout. The guy always said then, good night and big balls.
Yeah, that would pertain to all the bowlers or all you Smutten fantasy book readers. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of Financially Forever After, a Love and Money podcast. We'll see you soon.